On March 18th, 1995, Michael Jordan called a press conference after being retired for 17 months from basketball and attempting a professional baseball career. He had a press release that said to all NBA and Bulls fans, "I'm back." Let's dive in to everything surrounding Michael Jordan's short retirement and comeback into the NBA today on Daily Sports History. Welcome to Daily Sports History. I'm Ethan Reese, your guide to a rapid deep dive into sports history every day. In 1993, Michael Jordan's father passed away, who was a driving influence in his life and really helped him become the man and the great basketball player he was. The drive he had came from his dad. And 4 months after he passed away, Michael lost the love of basketball and retired after winning 3 straight NBA titles with the Bulls. And only being 30 years old, he walked away after 9 seasons. Now there's controversy that even says that maybe he actually walked away because he had a gambling issue. We're not going to dive into that because it's speculation, and maybe we'll do that on another episode because that deserves a whole breakdown itself. But he really had a dream to be a two-sport athlete, to be a baseball player, just like his dad always wanted. But just being in the major leagues wasn't all he wanted. He actually had the chance to join a major league team right away the next season. The Oakland Athletics owner offered him a guaranteed roster spot on their opening day roster without even seeing Michael play. The reason for this was Jordan would sell tickets, whether he played or not. Just being on the team would sell tickets. And Oakland was desperate. But he was also an athletic freak who could really do great things. But despite this offer, Jordan chose another route. The owner of the Bulls also owned the Chicago White Sox, and he called over to his manager and told him that Michael Jordan would be calling him. And he did. And he took a few hitting lessons there, and he loved it. And he loved it, and he had a drive for it. And he signed a minor league contract with them to join a Double-A team. Interestingly enough, future World Series champion manager Terry Francona, who led both the Boston Red Sox and the Guardians to World Series titles, was his manager. And what Francona said about Michael was he was very raw, but the drive that he had in the basketball court translated onto the baseball diamond. He was fine in the field as it was more athletic ability, but hitting was the challenging part. He didn't know the difference between a 2-seam fastball or a 4-seam fastball, and he was learning more and more every day. Everyone likes to point out that he had a terrible batting average when he was in Double-A with a .202 batting average, which was pretty bad, but he was in a premier prospects league that winter where he hit over .270. And Francona says that he would have definitely made a major league roster if he continued, but it wasn't in the cards. Not because he didn't want to keep going. What actually happened was Major League Baseball went on strike. So he had to decide whether to wait and continue to train to maybe make the major leagues and maybe even play that year because they didn't know how long the strike would last, or go back to basketball. And he chose to go back to basketball. In that 17 months, the Bulls team had changed quite a bit. Now, Scottie Pippen was still there, his running mate through all of his championships. And he actually finished third that whole year that Michael was gone from the NBA in MVP voting. But the following year, the team was struggling as they didn't have a go-to scorer, as Pippen was a great facilitator, a great defender, and a good shooter, but not that much of a scorer. And in came Michael Jordan, and they got right back on track. Now, even though Michael came back, that year was still some growing pains. He joined mid-season with only a few months left in the season with the Bulls, where they lost to Shaquille O'Neal and the Orlando Magic in the second round of the playoffs. But the following year, they went on another three-peat, finishing out his 6 world championships. So it wasn't all that he did terrible in baseball. he was getting better, and he could have made it in baseball if he really wanted to. But with a strike going on, he wanted to do something, and something he loved was basketball. And he went back to what he was the greatest at. And we're all glad he did. Unless you were a fan of any other basketball team for those next 3 years, having to watch the Bulls win again and again and again. Thank you for listening to today's Daily Sports History. If you like this, please let us know on our social medias. Reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, wherever you like to socialize. We're there, and we'd love to hear from you. Love to hear that you're enjoying the show. And come back tomorrow for more Daily Sports History.